notes. So the conversation today is on 2 types of discomfort. And the reason why I'm excited about this is because discomfort, as Brooke Castillo says, discomfort is the currency for growth, meaning
She does say that a lot.
We can't grow, we can't get to a new version of ourselves without feeling discomfort. It's not possible, it doesn't happen. So trying to get around feeling discomfort is not gonna happen. So how do we know that the type of discomfort that we're feeling is the appropriate discomfort and the right type of discomfort?
Well, I think that the idea is really if it makes you feel, well, first your thinking has to be clean. You can't be results focused because all discomfort is going to make your results suffer, in the short term, in the immediate. So once that thinking is clear, then you're looking at, okay, does this discomfort make me feel like a challenge I can overcome, a lesson to learn, an opportunity I can grow into, something where I'm like, yeah, this is going to be rough, but I like what's on the other side? Or is it like squashing you? Is it like, hey, this makes me feel tight in the chest, this makes me out of breath, this makes my muscles not, work appropriately. I always think of when you're a coach and you're planning a practice, the coaching term they used for it is desired difficulty. You're looking for a desirable difficulty. And so the idea is just the difference between, if you're trying to work on your free throws rather than shooting 50 free throws in a row, spreading them out throughout the practice. That makes it more difficult. Your results are not going to be as good when you do that, but that's a desirable difficulty. Undesirable difficulty would be, okay, you've got to shoot free throws and we're going to move you to half court and we're going to play the music loud and we're going to be going like this in front of you. All of a sudden you're like, coach, what are you talking about? Like this is gone. This is now like making me feel small and scared, and whatever. And so there's definitely what's helpful, what's a helpful discomfort, what's helpful difficulty, and what is, okay, that's just turning into nonsense.
Yeah. So how we can check internally, like how we can check in with ourselves, which one we're in, appropriate, which is what we want, and inappropriate, which is what we don't want, is how we are showing up in our process. And so the appropriate discomfort looks like taking action from a place that is thoughts that are fostering self-love, like you are taking the action knowing that this is for you, that the discomfort is okay, that you're okay, that you can do hard things. Whereas the other one, the inappropriate discomfort, is I can't be happy until I get this, until I do this. Like, so if we were to take a really simple example, a cupcake. The action line is do not eat the cupcake. One appropriate discomfort is saying, I want this for myself by saying no to the cupcake. So I am strong enough. I am healthy. Those thoughts foster discomfort of not having the gratification of the sugar that is appropriate discomfort. It is serving us. It's coming from a place of self-love and self-care. The inappropriate of not eating the discomfort is thoughts like, I'm so fat, I shouldn't have this cupcake, or
I'm weak if I have it, I'm worthless,
I'm never going to get there, so what's the point? And so the action is still the same. It's the thought that's causing both have discomfort. The inappropriate discomfort is not necessary, but it tends to happen when our mind goes unmanaged. So if you guys have comments or questions, of course, ask.
We'll try to keep checking, but at the same time, we want to talk about how you can kind of tell which is which. Basically, some like thought work, some questions you can ask yourself to sort of check in on that thing. So the key one is basically, why am I uncomfortable? I think is like that's really the first one. Is it for me or is it to punish me? Is kind of the thing. So that's what you want to check on is why. am I doing this thing? Is a great question to ask. And that's going to, of course, the answer to that is hopefully going to lead to whether or not it's serving you. Is this a discomfort that's going to help me, or is it not going to help me? So we say appropriate discomfort, inappropriate discomfort. It could be serving discomfort and not serving discomfort. It's growing discomfort and stifling discomfort. Which one is it doing for you? Those are good questions to ask. What do I want to think about this is a good thing to check in. What do I want to believe about discomfort? What do I want to think about discomfort? It kind of comes back to, why do I want it? What is my goal? What am I hoping to get out of it? What's on the other side of it that I'm going after? Is it loving? Is a good one. That's kind of what Whitney was talking about. Is this discomfort loving, or is this discomfort hating? Is it from beating myself, or is it a discomfort that I'm doing, like you're talking about with the cupcake? It's very possible that you would experience the discomfort of not having the cupcake because you love yourself, and you know that that's what you really want, and you're really offering yourself something greater.
Another good example of that I think is so helpful is not intermittent fasting, like not having breakfast. There have been points in my weight loss journey where I would not eat a meal because I had thoughts like, hey, Brennan, I would not eat a meal because I had thoughts like, I am too fat, I don't need that food. Or I shouldn't be eating because I have so much weight to lose. It came from a very self-loathing, not supportive place. And the discomfort was there whether I ate the food or not, because I didn't like who I was, where I was. I didn't like myself. Whereas now when I intermittent fast, which just means I skip a meal, I am coming from a place of, I am healthy, I love who I am, I love my body. That not eating food that goes in the A line, that happened in both scenarios, one discomfort feels very temporary and very, like Jake said, like I'm punishing myself, where the other one that is appropriate feels very loving, it feels empowering, and it feels healthy. Both are discomfort because I am feeling the hunger pains. I'm like, oh, I'm really excited to eat my salad or, whatever. But the discomfort is weighed based on the thoughts that we have.
Yeah, and I think that you're right on the money, that it's really comes down to the meaning that we assign to it. Why are we experiencing this discomfort? It totally reminds me of the Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh, when he was coaching a football team, and he set it up so that the team that won the drill got the punishment. Ran the sprints, and they were like, Coach, why are you punishing the team that's winning? And he's like, you need to stop thinking of it as a punishment. You get the opportunity to get the strength that comes from running the sprints, and the losing team does not get that opportunity. And all of a sudden you switch that, and we tried it. We tried working out that way.
That was fun.
Where we would do a volleyball drill, and if you hit your goal, then you got to do the burpees or the jumps or whatever the workout was. And if you didn't hit your goal, then you didn't get to do it. And it's funny how changing that thought switched everything. Because one time Whitney didn't hit her goal, but she refused to stand there and watch me work out. She just started working out anyway.
Yeah.
But it's still discomfort. And that's the thing of it, is that the burpees were still hard, especially in the sand. But the thought changed, the meaning changed, and all of a sudden the discomfort was something that you craved because it was for you. Instead of the discomfort being a punishment for not measuring up.
Right.
Really two different coaching philosophies, and a genius thing that Jim Harbaugh did, actually.
We would love to hear which discomfort you think that you're in. Like if we were to look at a day, like a regular day in your life, do you feel like you spend, when you are in discomfort, do you feel like you're inappropriate for the most part or appropriate for the most part? And we'd love to hear your...
And the big downside with the inappropriate discomfort is that it leads to quitting, and it leads to buffering. And that's really the problem with it, is when the discomfort's inappropriate, when the discomfort is a punishment, when you're saying, if I say to myself, Jake, I'm going to punish you, there's a little rebel in me that's like, no, you will not punish me. I will do just the opposite, of what you're saying. And this stuff starts to emerge because you start this fight within you versus saying, no, we're all on the same team here. Both Jakes are on the same team, and both Jakes are trying for something that's better, and it is going to require some sacrifice, but we're both headed that direction.
Yeah. And these awarenesses, these shifts, like if let's say that you notice just from watching this, man, I totally align with the inappropriate discomfort. Like I have been doing my whole protocol, or my going after my result in inappropriate discomfort. That's okay. It's really common. It doesn't mean that your results that you've had you don't earn, or that there's something wrong with you. It's literally an awareness, which is why we do this. However, having the shift by deciding, oh, okay, I want to now practice being in appropriate discomfort because I want my change to be for the long haul, is such a 1% shift that's going to make a huge deal a huge impact in your ability to stick to the process and get any result that you want, because you can start determining, am I in inappropriate or appropriate discomfort? An example that I have is this last weekend, I was in quite a bit of anxiety in and out. And then yesterday I had so much anxiety. It was just like literally a wave washed over me. And I was knowing that a lot of them were my thoughts, but I didn't really know what thoughts were causing it. And so I was kind of resisting it. I was trying to hide from it. And then finally I just decided I'm going to allow myself to feel this discomfort in a comfortable, self-loving way. The discomfort did not leave when I made that decision, but I was able to show up for myself in a different way that would not have been available to me if I was constantly in the inappropriate discomfort. You shouldn't be feeling anxious. Why are you feeling anxious? Something has gone wrong. That happens in our growth process. So instead, I started to just love myself, talk to myself well, and then do things that were serving. I did eat brownies and ice cream, which wasn't as self-loving as I would have liked. But this morning I woke up and I woke up at 4:20. I went and worked out. Like I literally felt like I had an internal shift. And it was changing that 1%, moving from inappropriate to appropriate.
Yeah, and the thing I like about that a lot is when you go back to your cupcake example, that once you recognize the option of appropriate discomfort, it removes the battle, because what ends up happening is you think, okay, here's the discomfort. Dang it, you shouldn't have that. It looks so good, but you're not going to eat it. And you're probably going to eat it eventually, but just resist it for right now. And then you're like, whoa, I'm being really mean to myself. I should love myself. Therefore, I should have the cupcake. You're like, whoa, so loving myself is having the cupcake, and not loving myself is resisting the, and like it gets all confusing until you realize, no, there's a third option. There's appropriate discomfort. I can love myself by not having the cupcake.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden
really
that is opens up a whole new piece to the puzzle.
Yeah, such a good.
Annalise said the hike in El Salvador was worth it, worth the discomfort.
Yeah, and Annalise is checking in. How was your self-talk?
Oh, yeah, good question.
Was it appropriate discomfort or inappropriate? Were you for yourself or were you disciplining yourself?
Especially when you were kind of paying the price of having to hike back out up the hill. Were you reminding yourself that it was worth it, or kind of suffering through that?
Yourself, yeah.
I'm going to read Brooks. All the physical activity we did in California helped with a brain shift on how I look at physical discomfort. That was more motivating than not. During the hike, I was not liking it. But it really did help with the brain shift.
Yeah. Yes. So same question, Brooke. When you were in discomfort during the hike and you were not liking it, what were your thoughts like? Were they loving, or were they like, you need to do this because you're out of shape and you need to get in shape? Like inappropriate, appropriate.
So an appropriate thought, a good example of an appropriate thought would be, this hike is the best way to find a snake. And so I'm just going to keep on walking and hope for the best. And it worked.
Yes. That's a Jake thought.
Whitney's like, don't put your thoughts in our teaching, Jake.
And Elise said, I focused on the fact that I am doing it, not focusing on being the last one up the hill. Very good example of appropriate discomfort. Nice, Annalise. And I knew that you were in appropriate discomfort because the way you were able to show up. When we are in inappropriate discomfort, it shows with our attitude. Like Jake said, we want to quit. We're feeling irritable. It's showing that we're irritable. We're barely getting by. And Brooke said both. Yeah, good honesty. This idea of two types of discomfort is something that I've personally struggled with because I am a lover of discomfort. Brooke and Jake kind of tease me about it a bit because I really love to grow. And when I'm not growing, I feel like I'm doing it wrong. So having this awareness of which discomfort do I practice has, in this short amount of time, has been really helpful because it's easy to feel inappropriate discomfort and think, oh, well, I have to be disciplining myself in a harsh way if I want to get to the result. And the truth is that's actually the opposite. And we've noticed that in different settings. Like we've talked about that, like stop at the negative self-talk, be someone who's in a process and not result focused. But really, I would say they're all so interconnected that we have to have a foundation of self-love and self-acceptance, and we really want to become a fan for us, not a fan who is disciplining ourselves until we get the result. And I think that's something that as humans we really have to practice because it doesn't come natural.